Welcome back. If we haven't met yet, my name is Tiffany. Today I'm going to be sharing how I've saved thousands on home decor. First, we're gonna head off to gather some inspiration, then we'll stop at a few thrift stores. As always, I'll have plenty of DIY projects to share with you. Stick around to the end and I'll show you how those turned out and how I styled them in our home. I want to thank Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. More about them later, but for now, let's get to it. I've had a lot of questions of how I've learned to do what I do, and I think it stems from the fact that for many years, we really struggled to make ends meet. I love the Pottery barn and restoration hardware looks, but the reality is my budget did not support that. So I decided to try to figure out how I could recreate the look for less. Also, the past two homes that we've lived in, we've fully renovated. So through those renovations, I gained some new skills and tools. As I'm walking through the store here, I'm taking note of colors and textures and sizes and shapes. And now off to one of my favorite places to pick up great deals on home decor. Here you pay for items by the pound. Every store is different. At our store, they're currently charging $1.29 per pound for housewares. This is where I picked up that tree that I did a makeover on. That was in my bedroom makeover. If you missed that video, I'll have that linked at the end of this one so you can go check it out. I always like to check the book section for books that I could use for styling. I was surprised when I saw the price on this. Unfortunately, just because something is at a thrift store, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a great deal. Speaking of that, now we're off to the regular Goodwill store here. The last stop this day is the Dollar Tree. I was excited to find this in the Goodwill bins. This is a diamond hole saw, and this is intended for use on things like ceramic and marble. We cut some wood and hot glued it to this to help keep that hole saw centered as we were drilling. Here I'm using some leftover drywall mud or joint compound mixed with some water to create some texture. We'll come back to this later and I'll show you how this turned out. A couple months ago, I decided that it was time to start being a little more intentional about my health. I wanted to make sure that this is something that I could stick with long term. So what this ended up looking like for me was just choosing the healthier option. And this leads me to today's sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store, and they're on a mission to help make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. Offering thousands of best-selling organic foods and natural products, groceries, snacks, supplements, personal care items, and more. These are items that you can feel good about. So if you're looking for gluten-free, vegan, or keto, they have over 90 filters. It's really easy to apply those filters, and then you're only seeing items that work for you. They offer guaranteed savings. I saved a lot by purchasing this through Thrive Market. And if you happen to find a better price somewhere else, they're happy to price match. If you don't make back your annual membership in savings, they'll credit you the difference. If you sign up and decide it's just not for you, just cancel within 30 days and they'll give you a full refund. They offer two different membership options, a monthly and a yearly. The yearly membership is currently $59.95. That comes to just $5 a month. I personally have the annual membership. With each annual membership purchased, Thrive Market donates a membership to someone in need. If, like me, you're ready to start making healthier choices and you value convenience, go down to that description box and click on that Thrive Market link, or go to thrivemarket.com/Tiffany Gemmer. In doing so, you'll receive a special offer that Thrive Market has put together for you, my viewers, 30% off of your first order, plus a free gift valued at up to $60. I've been keeping an eye out for a good deal on a coffee table. I really like this one from Pottery Barn, but I didn't love that $1,500 price tag. I found this one for free on OfferUp. These coffee table legs were something that I ordered on Amazon. The legs were just a little more blonde than the wood in this table. I decided to first start with this Zinsser wood bleach that I had left over from a previous project. I have all of these items shown in this video in my Amazon storefront, and I'll have that linked in the description box for you guys. That process did raise the grain a little bit, so I gave it a light sanding. In order to make this look like our inspiration coffee table, we needed to take these pieces that are sticking out here and recess them. This part here is definitely easier with an extra set of hands. To ensure that it would be nice and solid, we also used some wood glue before attaching this with screws to the top. Here I'm mixing up a wash. I've had some of you ask what I use to apply my washes and my top coats. My favorite way to apply them is with those stray socks that I can't find the match for, or if one sock gets a hole in it, I wash up the other and I keep those for this purpose. That wash really helped to tone down this yellow that was bleeding through on the top here, and it also helped to blend the two different types of wood that were on this table. In my inspiration piece, I was seeing tans, grays, whites, and browns. So you'll see that I did a lot of layering to help mimic that look. Because I know that this is going to get a ton of use, it's going to see a lot of wear and tear, I decided to apply 2 layers of top coat. Once that was fully cured, I then topped it with a wax. While that wax is still wet, I'm going over it with this gray paint and ultimately trying to somewhat mix it in with the wax. While at Pottery Barn, I was really drawn to these beautiful lanterns. I was, however, not so drawn to the price. So when I saw this at Value Village, I decided to see if I could recreate the look for less. Here I'm using some scrap board that I found out in the garage. I'm not really sure what it is, but I figured it would work. When my husband bought this, I couldn't really imagine a use for it. I'm surprised at how often I actually use this. I love that I don't have to get out a big heavy air compressor in order to do this. This wax makes candle making so easy and that it is microwave safe. Our kitchen really is the hub of our home. It sees a lot of use. Although these bar stools look okay from afar, they are literally falling apart. I found these for free. The owner was kind enough to let me know before I picked them up that there was some pilling on them. This Bissell little green is another thing that we use way more than I expected. It's great for deep cleaning upholstery or beds or carpets. Even though this looked clean to the eye, I felt like these stools would fit in my kitchen better if they were a little bit darker, so I decided to try dyeing them. Knowing that those stools were likely not a natural material, I picked up this synthetic dye. I then applied this dye fixative to try to help set that dye and keep it from rubbing off. After drying overnight, they were looking pretty blotchy. This time I decided to try a different method of application. I needed a funnel and I didn't have one on hand, so I cut up a milk carton. After letting those dry for several days, they were definitely better, but they were a little speckly in some spots. In my last-ditch effort to make dyeing these stools work, I decided to use a combination of the two application methods by spraying it on there and then rubbing it around to try to get even coverage and work it into the fabric. After those 3 applications, this is what they look like. When I realized that I probably wasn't going to be able to get the coverage that I was wanting with the dye, I opted to paint these. I painted chairs once before with chalk paint and they felt horrible. They were so crunchy, it really ruined them. Every tutorial I've seen says to do this on really nice, smooth fabrics. This is definitely not that. So I was a little nervous, but after doing a good amount of research, I decided to try mixing paint with this fabric medium. Once dry, they really didn't feel too bad. It reminded me of a canvas feel. They were a little rough. In the tutorials I've seen, they often will sand at this point. I really didn't want to do that on these because I felt like it would damage the fabric. I decided to grab this stiff bristle brush and just brush that over the fabric to help soften it. I then topped these with 2 layers of fabric protectant. I found these once again on Amazon. Just be aware that if you are going to try to add these to your stools, you would first want to make sure that there's something fairly solid in there that they can attach to. It's a little hard to see on camera here, but there was a little bit of green undertone in this wood. I then topped with white wax. I loved the texture on these. While at the Goodwill outlet, I found a whole bag of these styrofoam balls. This here is macrame cord. You get a lot for your money with this. I think these Pottery barn vases are so pretty. Many years ago when we purchased and renovated our home, as we were putting our kitchen together, I had my eye on this restoration hardware table, and one day I came across this table at the Goodwill outlet for $9.99. After 8 years of use and 3 kids, this table is looking a little rough, so it's time to give it a refresh. Also, with these grooves on the top here, I feel like they just catch all of the little crumbs and gunk, and it's really difficult to keep this tabletop good and clean. In sanding that down, I exposed this MDF, and of course MDF is not ideal for a kitchen tabletop. So I needed to somehow seal this so that I could make a nice smooth surface that's appropriate for a kitchen table. I want to give a quick little disclaimer here. With every project I do, I am not claiming to be an expert. I'm here to show you what I did. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just keep that in mind as you watch my projects. I wasn't loving that there was a little bit of texture on there still, so I decided to try brushing it on with a foam brush. If I were to do this process again, I would stick with that roller brush and just sand it really well with my orbital sander before applying the paint. I then painted it in the color Rugged Tan. After applying one coat with my brush, I then decided to sand that top and reapply the paint with the roller to get a smoother finish. And this was probably not necessary, but I first misted the tabletop with a little bit of water to help increase the open time of this decorative glaze. I was concerned that that glaze on its own would feel a little too dark on the table, so I decided to add a little bit of white and this country gray. I then used this deck staining brush. Once that was dry, ultimately I decided to top it with a coat of just the decorative glaze. The inspiration for my next piece was somewhat of a combination of this bowl that I saw at Pottery Barn and this paper mache one that is currently selling at Target. I'm once again using some joint compound, and I decided to mix in some paints, A, to change the color of it slightly, B, to help make it a little bit stronger and less likely to crumble. While at Pottery Barn, one thing that I noticed about these decorative strands is that they tend to use larger scale beads or items on these. If you enjoyed this video, would you please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button? And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Don't forget to go check out Thrive Market. I'll have a link to that offer in the description box along with that bedroom makeover video. I hope that you're feeling encouraged that you too can create beautiful spaces on a budget. Thanks so much for joining me here. I'll see you next time.